Hey y'all, I'm Crystal with Adventuring with Crystal, and today I wanted to chat about something that's near and dear to my heart, and that is teenagers. You may be wondering, what the heck do teenagers have to do with travel? And honestly, I feel like a lot, but I digress. I'm not even going to get into that. Mostly, it's just that I have teenagers, and I am on a mission to change the way that society thinks about teenagers. There are so many tropes and stereotypes about teens and how they are. And I just don't think it's fair. Now that I have teens and I see how rewarding our relationships are, I really want to work on changing those relationships. And one of the things that we as moms and parents can do is to foster independence in our teens. I notice, especially with one who is about to graduate from high school and be in college, that my teens aren't as independent as I would like for them to be. And here are some things that I am doing to make sure that they are ready for what comes next. I want them to know that they can come home to some degree, but I also want them to be ready to fly and to be independent and ready to come and do what they want to do next. Let's talk first about why it's important for us as parents to start fostering this in our teens. And it is that their brains are not ready. I always tell my girls that they're in the pupa stage, the cocoon stage. They were a caterpillar, and then their brain melted, and it's goo now inside of their little beautiful craniums, and they're going to come out on the other end of this as a butterfly. But until then, their brain is kind of this soup of fabulousness. And in that soup of fabulousness, they are not making the best decisions. But we still have to help them to learn how to make those best decisions. And that's where the independence comes in. If we are making the decisions for them, if we are the ones telling them what to do and when to do it, and micromanaging and becoming helicopters, or even if we're not doing that, but we're always swooping in when something goes wrong, then we are not helping that goo to reform into fabulous, independent neural pathways. That's the first thing, is to really realize, and that goo is not brain science. There's probably all kinds of real brain science, but that's how I visualize it in my head, is this butterfly cocoon metaphor. The next piece is to give them freedom within the boundaries that we set. It is going to be hard because we know that teens want to push boundaries. That's not stereotype. That is what they are trying to do. They are driven right now to become autonomous, to become independent, to find their own identity. But they still need the safety of the boundaries that we put in place for them. First, keep open communication. However it is that you do that, don't quit trying. When you get the one word answers, when you get the snark or the sass, it's only because they're trying to find those boundaries. Keep talking to them. I always like to try to do something with my girls. We are big colorers in our family. We like to play games. We like to cook together. And it's during those times when their hands are busy with something else that you can engage their mind with conversations. And don't try to make it so very pointed and like I do. I am very much like, this is what you need to do, X, Y, Z. No, I've had to learn. Bring it back, ask some open ended questions, act like I don't really care about the answer one way or another. And then I just like to cast something out there, and then I just let it sit. I don't try to reel it back in really fast. I just let it be in there and don't preach. That's what I have to remind myself. Don't preach, don't lecture. Negotiate with them. Negotiate how they're going to spend their time, where they're going to do their homework, if they can watch TV or not. And sometimes it's going to have to be a little bit of, sure, try that out, even though I know as your mom, it's not going to work. And then, oh, that didn't work. Oh, what a bummer. Now we know, let's try this thing instead. Often you may be right, but it could turn out the other way. Maybe your child can watch TV while they do their homework. I'm not a proponent of it and I've never seen it work, but some students could probably do that. And then just make sure when they fail that they know that they can come to you and you are a safe space for them. That is going to make all of the difference when they do fail that test because they were watching Young Sheldon and not really paying attention to studying. Then you don't have to point it out to them. You could just say, oh, that didn't really work. What can you do next time? And help them to build that independence in making the choices, but the choices are still kind of spelled out for them. Also, you really want to help them start building some really great habits. Things around chores and taking care of themselves and taking care of their living spaces. One thing that we've done with our girls for a long time now is we give an allowance that's just an allowance. It's not based on a list of chores that they have to do, but we ask them to do the chores that we ask them to do when we ask them to do it. That's part of living in a group. That's part of seeing, oh my gosh, the dog fur is piling up everywhere. Let me pull out a vacuum and do that because they're going to need that. At some point in time, they're going to be living with strangers. They may know the strangers, but they're still strangers, not somebody that they've grown up with for the past 18 to 22 years. And they're going to need to know how to clean a bathroom and not be told every time that it needs to be clean. What do you see toothpaste all over your sink? Why don't you wipe that down? You're going to have a roommate one day who is going to kick you out if you do not do that. So let's teach them now. Also, helping them with financial savvy. That's why we do our allowance the way that we do. You're going to get this per month, and that's going to have to take care of the things that you want to do. If you want to go out to eat with your friends, for our daughter now, that's going to cover your gas. And if you're driving around a lot, then you might run out of gas money. And when you're out, what are you going to do to either replace that or to not have done that to start with? Like, those are good learning times. And finally, just giving them a lot of opportunity to make decisions for themselves. Our, our babies cannot become independent if we don't let them test their wings and make those decisions. And again, they might end up being wrong decisions, but they're going to learn from that and be able to come to you and know that you are there for them to help them continue to grow. It's not an overnight thing. Letting our teens become independent, you can't just cut the cord and then let them go. It's going to have to be a gradual release and based on trust and respect. We are teasers in our family, but I've noticed that when I tease my daughters about things that I think are cute or funny, they actually take that I don't trust and respect them, especially the respect piece. I've tried to rein that in myself because I want them to know that even though I think some of the mistakes that they make are cute, that I do respect them and the decisions that they're making. That is so important for them to learn to respect themselves if we give them that trust and respect. And then we're guides now. We used to be the teachers, but as they move into their teen years, we really have to think about our role as guides. They're watching us to see how we behave, and their BS meter is through the roof when they become teenagers. So if we're not acting the way that we are telling them to act, they are going to know. It is not a do as I say, it is a do as I do because they are razor sharp and they have a hawk's eye right now. They can see everything that's going on. We definitely want them to see us walking the walk and talking the talk and becoming somebody that they know they can trust, and generally for being there for them in any capacity that they need. And that will change as they become adults. Finally, celebrate your teens. They are so amazing right now. Yes, they make horrible decisions and they are rash and they sometimes roll their eyes. Why am I saying sometimes? They are always rolling their eyes or cutting their eyes. I get this a lot. You know, it's part of the package. We did that also. And if you didn't, then your parents were the luckiest humans ever. But I did it and I was a pretty good kid. It is part of it. because also you're going to be deepening your relationship with them. They are so cool right now. They can have great senses of humor and they can get things that they haven't gotten before. And my girls teach me so much about culture and what's going on in the world because they have an ear for it right now that I don't have. And I so appreciate that about them. And one day we'll talk about why teens and travel go hand in hand, other than the fact that I just have teens, but not for today. If you have any other questions or comments, or you just want a mom to talk to, please let me know. I would love to connect with you and build a community of moms and families who are building up their teens and enjoying this time of life.